is another beautiful day here in the Midwest, and welcome to episode number 12 of Visions, Dreams, and Insights. And the vision I had that came through over the last 24 hours was very interesting in that it really highlights a lot of the temperature, I guess you could say, of the sun's passage through the sign of Libra. And Libra is all about connecting with people. It's all about associations, friends, relationships, etc. And in the vision, I was on an island and very much aware of the fact that I was surrounded by water, and really given a clear insight as to the whole idea of isolation and what isolation actually means to us or for us. And so after the vision had ended, I immediately picked up an old copy of one of my favorite things by Thomas Merton, a publication, a book he wrote called No Man is an Island. And if you haven't read Merton, you definitely need to take a little bit of time and give it some attention. He was a Trappist monk down in Kentucky, I believe, and a very profound spiritual journeyer. He had an amazing journey through multiple realms, moving through Catholicism, Christianity, Buddhism, Sufism, Jainism. He was quite a student of all the different approaches to the divine. So anyway, within that, we'll start this off with a little excerpt from Thomas Merton. And his first chapter in the book, No Man is an Island, is love can be kept only by giving it away. A happiness that is sought for ourselves alone can never be found, for a happiness that is diminished by being shared is not big enough to make us happy. And he goes on to finish that thought with the gift of love is a gift of the power and the capacity to love, and therefore to give love with full effect is also to receive it. So, love can only be kept by being given away, and it can only be given perfectly when it is also received. And that really is, I think, a big theme for a lot of us right now, is recognizing within the context of our relationships our inherent sense of dependency. We all are very much dependent on each other, and even more importantly, we are eternally dependent upon God. And so this takes us back into that kind of a mystical loop about what is life. And as many of the profound sages over the decades have ruminated, it's obvious that God is life, because without the presence of God in one's life, one really doesn't have a life in the truest sense of the word. So as we celebrate the approach of autumn here, the time of reflection on friends, associates, and family members, we really have to look at where we're placing our attention and what our priorities are. A lot of the problems we create for ourselves are generated by that little tormentor that we have created, our personal identity, our ego. And the ego likes to imagine itself as being completely independent. And realistically, when you look at that, it's merely a sham. It's a replacement, because for those who are invested in the ego, they're not dependent on God, but they are dependent on medicine, on food, on air, on water, all of the different elements, all the different components of what we consider to be the sustenance of life here in the material world. And really as an effect of having gone through a lot of upheaval over the last few years with bodily functions and the medical community. More and more I have become fully illuminated around the idea that all of the little different pill factories and proper eating and pure living and all of these things that we're doing for our body really are for naught if we are not attaching ourselves or investing ourselves in the realization that our first and foremost dependency is upon the divine within our lives. God is life, as Jesus had stated, and I'm sure you can find similar quotes in almost every other theology. I know that in many of the Sufi mystics they illuminate that, or they highlight that thought, and in Buddhism that thought is very much highlighted. So within this whole system here, this whole series of spinning wheels, the way we have complicated our thinking and complicated our lifestyle, I think that the real core of living a healthy life and getting back into a state of well-beingness is not on eating organically or eating vegan or taking all the necessary stretching exercises every morning and applying them to your body. Those are good peripheral things. They are necessary peripheral things. But the reality is that the initial core of our existence is that which we call God. And of course that's the three-letter word trying to put a box around the infinite, so that's really kind of an absurd encapsulation, but nonetheless, the life source, the divine within us. If we turn our attention over in that direction, I think every problem that we encounter, the solutions will become very clear and very immediate. So as we are advancing toward this coming full moon, we're now in the second quarter, we're moving into a period here where our isolation can really become problematic for us. And I think this will be highlighted with this coming full moon in the sign of Aries, the sign of self, the sign of the ego. And we have to jump back over to the other side of the wheel and look at the collective and realize that while the collective is an aspect of God, there is a greater presence of God within that, and that is that the origin of all life was that first awakening, that first awareness of I am that I am. So prioritizing life as autumn comes along, getting all of your ducks in a row, cleaning out your closets, all of these things are very important, but spend some time in contemplation of your dependency on the divine. Your ego is not going to be happy with those thoughts, those ideas, and those words, but that deeper part of you will well up from the depths of your soul, and you'll recognize an ecstasy that you will encounter as you open yourself up for that divine union that is available to all of us. And very much in theme with this weekend, tonight we start the journey through Yom Kippur for a lot of Jewish friends, and this is the process of atonement. This is coming back together once again in that vision of oneness. So get out there and enjoy autumn. It's going to, I think, unfold quite beautifully for a lot of us. And the important thing is to keep your attention on the divine first and foremost, and recognize and embrace your dependency on that divine source of love, that divine source of nutrition and sustenance, and that divine source of healing. And I think everything as we move toward winter is going to unroll in a very pleasant fashion for all of us. So get out there, share the love, pass the love around, and have a divine weekend. Enjoy this beautiful season of the year. Goodbye.
When